Philadelphia native, Lil Uzi Vert is an artist that is beloved by all. Whether it be for his flashy and melodic music, his eccentric personality, or his unique style and fashion, there seems to be something to like about him for everyone. This has been true ever since he started to pop off in 2014, and has remained consistent up until now. But which one of these years was Uzi at his peak in terms of musical quality? Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be looking at Lil Uzi Vert's musical career, ever since he dropped his first EP in 2014 all the way until now, at the end of 2021. And we're going to try and figure out what year Lil Uzi Vert was really at his prime, musically speaking. Now, obviously Lil Uzi did not drop songs or projects every single year since 2014, but he has dropped features, snippets, and there's also been a lot of leaked tracks. So what I'm going to try and do today is compile all of these different assets, snippets, albums, leaks, features, and try and compare 2014 Lil Uzi, 2021 Uzi, and every year in between, and try and figure out which year he was actually at his best musically. And with all that being said, if you haven't already, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get on with the video. Peace. In 2014, Lil Uzi Vert already had a few years of rapping under his belt, but had gained no significant attention up until then. When on January 14th, he dropped his first EP, Purple Thoughts EP, Volume 1. Looking back on this project, even as a huge Uzi fan, I must say that it is underwhelming, and there are a few reasons to go back to it today besides its novelty. This release would be quickly followed up, though, by Uzi's first mixtape, The Real Uzi, which was dropped on August 5th, 2014. This mixtape was received much better than Purple Thoughts, and this is the release where we can start to see some of Uzi's more melodic and non-traditional styles of rapping start to progress. But relative to the rest of his career, this drop still pales in comparison. And this year, Uzi also had several features put out, although most were pretty insignificant and did not do much for his overall notoriety as an artist, as they were simply not his best. Depending how you look at it, 2015 was the year that Uzi really made his way into the rap industry, and thus first crossed the minds of many rap fans this year. Uzi's first big song would come with his appearance on DJ Carnage's song, What Do You Want, featuring Uzi, Rich the Kid, and A$AP Ferg. This song was a pretty big hit upon its release, and it was mostly thanks to Uzi's amazing feature, which added a great melodic hook, as well as some impressive vocal inflections that matched Young Thug's at the time. Uzi would continue to give out several features this year, but none were able to match what he did on What Do You Want. Uzi would eventually be redeemed, though, when he dropped his first studio mixtape, Love Is Rage, on October 30th under Generation Now and Atlantic Records. This mixtape would be home to several of Uzi's big early hits, including 7 AM, Top, and Right Now, as well as several fan favorite songs, such as Super Saiyan, All My Chains, New York Nights at 21, and Paradise. This release overall received approval from fans and critics alike, praising Uzi for his unique style and boosted Uzi into the spotlight as an artist with huge potential. This is the year that Uzi really went from an underground rapper to a mainstream artist. Much of this can be attributed to his single Money Longer, which he dropped on February 6th. At this point in his career, it was easily his biggest song and a very good one at that. Money Longer would eventually become the lead single to his mixtape, Lil Uzi Vert vs. the World, which dropped on April 15th. This project is near flawless to most Uzi fans and rap fans alike. It has some huge hits like Money Longer, You Was Right, and P's and Q's, as well as fan favorites such as Scott and Ramona and Team Rocket. Later this year, Uzi would drop his next mixtape, The Perfect Love Tape, on July 31st. The Perfect Love Tape was received well, but was not as commercially successful as his prior mixtape. Yet this project still had some very significant songs on it, like Do What I Want, Erase Your Social, and 7 Million with Future. After the success of these two mixtapes, he would combine forces with Gucci Mane to drop the collaborative album 1017 vs. the World on November 23rd. This project has not been received well, but many fans claim this is more the fault of Gucci Mane's effort on the tape than Uzi's. All in all, this tape would not end up making that big of a splash in the rap scene. Besides the Gucci tape though, Uzi would end up having a pretty solid feature run this year, dropping features on the songs Flexing on Purpose by Rollo, Camera by DJ Drama, Rah Rah by Travis Scott, Hold Up by Cody Shane, New Level Remix by A$AP Ferg, Froze by Meek Mill, and Runner by A$AP Mob. Although this is definitely not his biggest year in terms of feature runs, it is definitely the start of many of his industry connects that he would continue throughout the rest of his career. This is the year that Uzi would seemingly gain peak stardom, when in the lead up to his Love is Rage 2 album, he dropped Love is Rage 1.5 on February 26th. This song housed Uzi's biggest hit by far, with EXO Tour Life, and is also likely Uzi's most well-praised song as well, being loved by fans and critics alike. This is pretty rare, as it does not often happen that fans and critics will agree that an artist's most popular song is one of, if not their best pieces. In fact, it is usually the opposite. All this hype led to his debut studio album, Love is Rage 2, to drop on August 25th. This album was a great piece, and although in my opinion had some lower lows than his two projects in 2016, it easily had much higher highs. Some of these songs being EXO Tour Life, The Way Life Goes, Sauce It Up, Neon Guts featuring Pharrell, and Dark Queen. Uzi would continue to ride the success of this album when he would drop the deluxe in November 17th, which added 4 songs, these being Skr Skr, Loaded, Diamonds All on My Wrist, and another smash hit with 20 Minutes, which is by far my favorite Uzi song. Besides his solo discography though, Uzi would drop some huge features this year. Some of the more significant ones being Ben Ballin by Steve Aoki, ASAP Ferg, and Nav Uzi Metro Part 2 with Nav, Marvelous Day by Cap G, Fuck That Checkup by Meek Mill, Everything with G Herbo, Zambamafu by Hoodrich Pablo Juan, Mars with Maxo Cream, A Lot and Strong with Zaytoven, and all in all, this was a great year for Uzi from all perspectives. For many Uzi fans, this is known as the beginning of the eternal wait for Uzi's second studio album, Eternal Atake. Unfortunately though, at least in my opinion, this year was a year of huge lost potential for Uzi, as he seemed to have been restricted in what he could release by his label, and only officially dropped one single, being New Patek, which was a great song, which makes it all the more upsetting that it was the only song he was actually able to release. Uzi also dropped some amazing features this year though, these being Mood by TM88, At the Hotel by Gunna, Bankroll by DP Beats, Up by Young Thug, Shoota by Playboi Carti, Life Goes On by Lil Baby, Valentine Remix by YK Osiris, Strong by Zaytoven, Rich Person by NBA Youngboy, It's a Slime by Young Thug, Shells by Shabazz PBG, and many more. The real kicker for this year though is the 2 scrapped collab projects that could have dropped in 2018, but for whatever reason never did. The first of these being No Love Lost, which was a collaboration project with Pharrell Williams that could have included up to 15 possible tracks that have been leaked. If you have not listened to any of these tracks, do yourself a favor and at least listen to these 4. Hours, Minutes, Seconds, Nothing, Lonesome, and Shoulda Never. If this project actually did release, it could have easily been Uzi's greatest project, so it's a real shame it never dropped. Secondly though, is the much more well-known collab project between Uzi and Playboi Carti, 1629. This project also had a majority of its tracks recorded in 2018, and if it were to drop, would have easily been one of the greatest collab tapes in all of hip-hop, at least in my opinion. Unfortunately though, we never got the project, but we do have a ton of tracks that were leaked from the original that give us a glimpse into how great this album could have been. Some of the more notable ones being Cartier, Throw It Up, and SRT. Besides these 2 projects though, there were even more solo Uzi songs that leaked around this time. Here's some of the more significant ones of 2018. Of Course, which is almost unanimously Uzi's best leak by fans, and some believe it could have easily been his most popular song if it did ever release. Mission to the Loot, which Uzi previewed on an Instagram Live in January 2018, and 1600, which leaked in September 2018, and was originally meant to be the intro to Eternal Atake. All in all, it's crazy to think how amazing of a year this could have been for Uzi's discography, but due to label issues and leaks, this year just became a huge what if for his career. This is the year where things started to get a little depressing for Uzi fans. With almost 2 years without an Uzi project and very little in the way of official music released during this time. But even with all this, the hype for Eternal Atake was at an all-time high, and fans were ready for the project to finally release. Unfortunately though, they would have to wait at least another year until then. But thankfully Uzi did drop 3 really solid singles this year. These being Sanguine Paradise, That's a Rack, Free Uzi, and Futsal Shuffle 2020, with Sanguine Paradise being the biggest hit of these by far. Besides this short list of singles though, Uzi also had a pretty mild year in terms of features. Here are some of the more notable ones. Habits with Nav, Igor's Theme by Tyler the Creator, Slayer by TM88, How High with Pierre Bourne, What's the Move with Young Thug, and Pose with Yo Gotti. Besides the official music releases, Uzi also had a very limited amount of leaks during 2019 compared to 2018. Some of the more notable ones being Zoom, which leaked on August 10th, and Make It Back, which leaked on May 14th. Overall, a less impressive year for Uzi, especially when right between 2018 and 2020, two of Uzi's biggest years. 2020 went down as a pretty decisive year for Uzi as he finally released his long-awaited album, Eternal Take, on March 6th, which, although had amazing first-week sales, it was met with middle-of-the-road reception from fans and critics alike. Although the project did undeniably have some great songs, some of these being Baby Pluto, Bigger Than Life, Prices, Benicia, P2, and That Way, although the Eternal Take album would not end that quickly, with Uzi deciding to drop the second half of the album, Lil Uzi vs. the World 2, the next week, with many fan-favorite leaks and snippets being featured on the project. Some of the highlights on the project being Myron, Bean with Chief Keef, Yes Sirski with 21 Savage, and Leaders with Nav. Unfortunately though, even with the massive amounts of content being dropped in such quick succession, the fans were pretty disappointed with the quality of the music. And Eternal Take and the Deluxe are pretty widely regarded as two of Uzi's worst projects overall. Even Uzi agreed with this thought in an interview he had with Fat Joe, saying the album was pretty mediocre for his own standards. Later in the year, Uzi would drop a collab album with one of his inspirations at the time, Future, in the form of Pluto x Baby Pluto, which dropped on November 13th, and the Deluxe dropping only 4 days later on the 17th. Once again though, this project was given lukewarm reception, and only had one real hit with Drinkin' and Smokin'. Although, for me at least, there are quite a few songs I enjoy in the album, and I think it could have been better if some filler tracks were removed. With all that being said though, in terms of Uzi's discography during 2020, although we got so much content, these projects are seen as bottom tier for Uzi, so overall not the best solo work for him. Thankfully though, at least in my opinion, Uzi had a pretty solid year in terms of features, with appearances on these songs: Commercial by Lil Baby, Flood My Wrist by A Boogie, PTSD by G Herbo, Status by Nav, Multiple Flows by Lil Wayne, Count to Million by No Cap, Relentless by Gunna, Dolly by Lil Tecca, Bussin' by Doughboy, and many more. In terms of snippets, Uzi had a great year that can be thanked to a series of days where he went live on Instagram and previewed tons of songs to thousands of viewers. Some of the more notable ones being Pluto to Mars, Ridiculous, and 3D Wrist. Overall though, in my opinion, even with the huge amount of content released by Uzi, this simply was not an amazing year for him overall. And we are finally back to 2021, where we are once again waiting for another album, this time being the Pink Tape, which as of now we have no clue when it could be dropping. Either way though, we still were able to get some music from Uzi when he dropped his only single of the year, Demon High, on October 29th. Not only did this song do poorly in numbers, but even some of Uzi's biggest fans did not take well to it, as it sounded more like a song for a Halloween Town movie than anything. Thankfully though, Uzi was able to slightly redeem himself with his feature run this year, with solid appearances on these songs: There She Go by Justin Bieber, Proud of You by YSL Records, Yellow Tape by Young Nudie, Lucid Dreams Remix by Juice WRLD, Sauce Boy 2 by Pierre Bourne, Juggernaut by Tyler the Creator, From the Garden by Isaiah Rashad, Mind of Melvin by YNW Melly, and many more. Besides a really solid feature run, this year Uzi also had some amazing songs that we were able to find through him teasing them or leakers. Two of the more significant of these being All Alone and Rage Music, which he teased during his Rolling Loud Miami performance earlier this year. Uzi also released a snippet of a song called Movie earlier this year on his Twitter, which was really well received by fans. And although unfortunately he never did release this song, a re-upload of it is available on YouTube, now with millions of views, which is a testament of how well liked the song is by fans. All in all though, 2021, although relatively quiet from Uzi, seems to be guiding us towards a solid release of Pink Tape sometime in 2022, and has definitely done its job to hype me up for the project. Alright, now that we got a refresher on what dropped when and what was the general reception to everything, we can start to rank these years in Uzi's discography. To do this efficiently, I'm going to rate each year from 1 to 8. And I'm going to do that in 3 separate categories: features, release music, and snippets or leak. Once each year gets a rating in all 3 of these categories, I'll put them in order and gives points from 1 to 8, and once they've been ranked in all 3 categories, I'll overall add up the points and we'll get the overall ranking leaderboard. And from there, we can see which years were at the top. So real quick right here, you can see my rankings for the features, released music, and the leaks from each year. So for example, number 1 in 2018 for features, that's going to get 8 points, while number 8, 2021 is only going to get 1 point. I'm going to do that for each category, add them up, and then we're going to get the overall ranking leaderboard, which is right here. And here it is, final leaderboard. 2021 winning with 19 points. Overall, I'm surprised on how high 2018 got, even without any released music almost at all. And I think that is really shows how good Uzi could have been in 2018 overall. And yeah, I mean, if you guys think that this should have been rated any differently, if you guys like the video, make sure to like. Yeah, that's all. Have a good one. Enjoy. Peace.